Hi, I'm Virginia from Right Clinic, and here with me today is Elizabeth Stricker. She is a nurse medical writer and founder of Stricker Communications. Thank you so much for joining us today, Elizabeth.
Thank you so much for having me, Virginia.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Where are you joining us from today?
I am in Billings, Montana in the United States.
Amazing. And I'm in Germany. So let's start with the first question. What do you do and how did you get into it?
So I'm a nurse writer, which means that I take all of the knowledge that I gained as a practicing nurse and I apply it to writing medical content. And sometimes that means writing articles for consumers, that kind of thing, on the business to consumer side. So explaining complex health topics like how to manage your diabetes, what to do if you're pregnant with a baby who has some kind of a cardiac defect, things like that, and breaking them down into bite-sized, digestible, understandable, clear communication for your average person. And then the other thing that I focus on a lot is on the more complex side of medical communication. I haven't gotten into research writing or anything like that, but what I do is physician facing and business content. So things like blog articles about the business side of healthcare, white papers, things like that.
That is really interesting. I love that you have such a variety of different things that you write about, and also that you write about different topics for different audiences as well. So, how did you start with getting into this kind of work? And do you still work as a nurse as well? Or did you suddenly a few years ago find out about writing and then switch? Or did you move? What was the kind of catalyst for this career change?
So backing way up, I've been a nurse for 14 years. I'm not a practicing nurse at the moment, but I only left practicing nursing in August, just a couple months ago this year. And at the same time as I was working as a nurse, working on the floor, I worked in labor and delivery, I worked in medical, I worked in inpatient dialysis, just like a variety of different places, but a lot of women's health focus. I also was a novelist. So I would write fiction. I would get up early in the morning. I still love to do this. Get up at 4 or 5 every morning and write when it's really quiet
Wow.
and drink tea, and it's a wonderful moment. Kind of the happy place. And then I would craft these stories. So about a year, maybe a little bit more ago, I actually watched a little ad by another nurse writer, and she was promoting her course. It's RN to writer, and it's popular with a lot of nurse writers. And something just clicked in my mind, and I said, I'm a writer and I'm a nurse, and I could actually put these together in a really solid way, and maybe I could make something out of this. So I just started trying. I wrote for a couple of nonprofit organizations to get going, to get some clips, and then I started writing for a news outlet, which was fantastic, and I could actually get paid for my words. I did make a lot of money as a novelist, but let me say that the turnaround is much slower than it is in medical writing. So I think I spent like 3 years writing a novel, and I've made like $200 on it. So that wasn't a very good hourly rate, but it was very fun. Um, and then I just kept at it, kept doing it, finding new clients. I reached the point where I had enough clients and enough work that I didn't need to continue my job as a nurse a few months ago, and here I am.
I love that the kind of transition has been so recent as well. So thank you so much for sharing your story. And there are a few points I want to touch on. So, how did you find your first clients and where did you go to get them? And do you still go to those places to find your clients now, or are you kind of getting them organically?
Um, yes. So at first, when I just had my nonprofit work that I was doing, actually, it was kind of difficult to even find that because people are busy. They might, they would say, "Oh, I'll get back to you and think of something," and they never would, things like that. But then eventually, I saw that other nurse writers who were a similar stage in the career were writing for this one particular news outlet, and I thought, well, I'm going to see who's the content manager for that news outlet, and I'm going to reach out and see if they need another. And I did, and that worked out. So that was kind of my first paying client. And I've done a lot of different things to try to find clients, and some of them have been more successful than others. I've applied for gigs on Upwork, and I've applied for a lot of different posted jobs. I found that there'll be like 500 applicants for a job, and even if I'm fantastic, how am I going to stand out in 500 applicants? But what really is working well is to target my communications to people who are actually really relevant for what I do and what my specialty and what my talent is. So that means reaching out to companies that sell women's health products, or companies that, you know, are interested in marketing to hospitals, because I actually have a lot of background as a hospital leader and a hospital purchasing um, employee who makes decisions like that. I was the leader of an OBGYN clinic, and actually a whole collection of women's health clinics in the outpatient world in Dorp over the last couple years. And so I have a lot of knowledge about the business of healthcare, which has really come in handy in informing some of this content that I'm writing. So looking for those kind of people, the people who really need what I can do well. And then I'll send them a message. I'll see if they need help.
That is so amazing. I love that you kind of connected the dots with what your expertise is as a nurse and all of your experience, and then actually targeting people saying, hey, look, this is my background. I know that I can help you because I've got years of experience doing this. And that means that my writing will be better than the other person who doesn't have this experience that I've got. So well done for doing that. And thank you for sharing that, because I think a lot of people don't look internally enough about how unique they are and how amazing their experiences are, and how they can use that to their advantage when they're trying to land a client. And even sending messages now when you're looking for work with a client, you can then support what you've done with the previous clients that you've worked with to say how successful your previous work has been. So I think it kind of all builds up, and it's great to know that that is working out for you. But and you are still enjoying waking up and writing. I think that's so important that you maintained your love for writing,
Yeah.
and that's what gets you up in the morning. And I definitely agree. I love the quiet hours of the morning the best, but I definitely don't wake up at 4 or 5. So,
Well,
um,
so I have to, before I had them, I woke up at 6 for it, and now I wake up at 4 so that I get 2 solid hours before they come. And the only difference between now and before is that the topic's different. The writing is the same. It's the same creativity and thinking of words, putting them together, making sure they flow, and yeah.
yeah, and it's great that. Sorry.
Keep going.
Okay. So it's great that you built up that kind of discipline, I'm going to call it, or that habit where you get up every day and you have a consistent routine. Because I think some writers find it difficult to find their mojo, so to speak, with their writing habits, and kind of making it more of as a skill that they develop and get used to. And it's nice to know that you adapted the habits and the flow of writing from writing novels to medical writing.
Mhm.
And that's really cool and amazing to hear. So what do you know now that you wish you knew to help you get a head start in your career?
So I have to say that I've been very fortunate with this journey. It's happened quickly, and it's been successful relatively quickly, as far as I can tell. I think that part of that is coming into it with a lot of background. I already knew how to write. I already knew how to run an online business because I was a self-published author. I knew how to build a website. I knew how to kind of manage a lot of things about business. That there is a great learning curve when you start this. When you go into freelancing, because you are a business owner all of a sudden. And so it really helped that I had taken courses in the past on how to run an online business. I had taken a lot of courses and spent a lot of time on writing and practicing writing and on communications. And then also being a leader in the clinic was helpful too, because I knew a lot about time management. I knew a lot about prioritization, just all kinds of things that really turned into transferable skills. But I will say that if I was going to talk to myself at the beginning of this journey, I would say definitely invest in courses. Definitely reach out to those people who know what they're doing and have gotten there, and look at how they did it. And I mean, that is what I ended up doing, but I would encourage myself to go ahead and do that. Um, because something like how do you write a white paper, for instance? I took a course on how to write a white paper. I did a lot of investigation. I looked at templates and how other people had done it. I read books about it. I read a whole bunch of white papers. So that kind of information is not something you can just come up with out of nowhere, especially for something so complex. So that's what I would tell myself.
I love that. Yeah, I love that. I love that you are very pro, investing in yourself and taking the time to learn, because I think some people just jump into it and they're like, yeah, I'll just learn on the job. But it's really hard to do that. And I definitely, in a similar way, I read lots of books, and even now I invest in courses in other things where I'm trying to develop different skills to complement my writing skills. So more into like the video scene. And I love that you also went and read the type of writing that you wanted to learn how to write as well, because the more examples you read, and especially if those examples are quality pieces of writing, then you will naturally kind of pick up certain phrases and the structure and the flow as well. And I think that's really helpful, and more people need to read a lot more to become better writers. It definitely makes it easier. So putting in that time and that hard work is really impressive, and it's great to hear that kind of accelerated your journey. So you feel like it just happened, but I feel like you really worked hard for it. So give yourself some credit with that. Okay, so final question: what's next on the horizon for you?
So I have just found I really am loving the more complicated work, getting into some of the business, marketing types of assets for different clients. And a lot of that involves deep research. It involves breaking that down, but maybe not at an 8th grade reading level. I'm targeting towards executives, physicians, things like that. So I think that I'm definitely going to be focusing a lot more on that B2B side of things and more complex work. I've also found something kind of interesting, and it's like a little war going on in my head, because what we're always looking for when we're writing these medical pieces is solid resources that are reliable. And a lot of the times that means looking at different professional societies. It's looking at randomized controlled trials. It's evaluating the research that's behind this thing, that thing, and the other thing. But at the same time, there's also a lot of things that you can't examine in a randomized controlled trial very well. And in particular, I have a family member who has a serious health condition. And at the same time, paralleling all of this writing that I've been doing, we've been trying to help him through that. And what I found is there's just a lot on the natural side that maybe we don't know a lot about, and doctors can't necessarily recommend because we don't have solid backing. So I think that I could see myself in the future trying to find the bridge between these two sides. And how do we explain some of these natural things in a way that people could explore them safely and could, look at that. So that's another direction I could see it going eventually.
That's really interesting to hear. I think a lot of people are, once they've tried kind of traditional methods, or they are seeking alternative ways of looking after their health, then they'll discover things on their path to becoming healthier, or receiving treatment. So yeah, there's only so much time and so many resources in the world to research. So you won't be able to find the answers that you're looking for sometimes. And I think sometimes they're hidden away, and you really have to dig deep to try and find those answers. So that's really inspiring to hear that you're looking at making an impact on the research side as well, and trying to join up what we already know to potential things that could help people. And it's nice to know that you have a kind of personal calling for that. And I'm sorry to hear that family member is going through this difficult time, and I hope they do become well, or as well as they can be. And best of luck with that. And yeah, thank you so much for your time. I will leave links to Elizabeth's LinkedIn so you can connect with her in the description below. And also you can check out Stricker Communications as well. I'm sure you have a website. And yeah, thank you so much.
Thank
See
you
you
so
next
much.
time.